And yeah, I feel like I have that same problem where it's like I have very limited space in here and I have everything. I've like got like created like video games. I collect way too much stuff. So I think part of the appeal to me of Corridor is like, yeah, I could keep stacking up the Pokemon slabs and my wife won't find out, you know?
GM, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Screen with Ramajo, the podcast where we unravel stories, insights, secrets of top tier artists, avid collectors, innovative builders shaping the digital frontier, better known as Web3. I'm your host, Gramajo, an avid crypto enthusiast that's been in the space since 2012 and joined the NFT space in 2021. Bought some NFTs, never left. This week's episode, really happy to finally had a chance to sit down with ChefSpin, aka Jake, not from State Farm. If you're from Europe or from not the US, look up Jake's State Farm commercial and that will all make sense to you. Pretty hilarious skit. But yeah, Jake works for Courtyard. Courtyard is trying to, bring physical assets into the digital world, via Pokemon cards and other collectibles as well. Really happy that I got to sit down with Jake. We spoke about kind of the Pokemon collecting, cards, collectibles, really everything under the sun, video games. We have a lot of similar interests, so this is a really great episode for me. Had a lot of fun. Thanks again, Jake. Yeah, hope you like it. It's up to you how much you want to dox yourself, but who is Chef? And how'd you get started in Web3?
Yeah. So I guess I'll dox myself as much as I'm kind of like already doxed. But
yeah, exactly.
Chef Spin, go by Jake too. Like my Twitter bio is Jake, not from State Farm. So definitely put that out there. And yeah, first of all, man, like thanks for having me on. Like you've been such a just like awesome person that I've been able to connect with in Web3. So yeah, I've seen you doing these interviews, and I'm glad we were able to finally make it happen. But yeah, like as far as how I got into Web3, I guess kind of goes back to me having a lot of that collector DNA. Always been a collector since childhood, right? Like starting with Legos. I was like really into collecting Legos at one point. Moved on to Pokemon cards when I got a little older. Some sports cars, like because of my brothers. And that kind of just been that way my whole life. Now, like sneakers is definitely one of my main jams. Like I love how the screen is capturing me. It's just such a personality picture right here, honestly. It's just
Yeah.
this is only like half of it. There's some other boxes. So I've always been a collector, and I guess 2020, and then 2017, I guess, is when I had my first like short like dabble with crypto, which is when a lot of people came in, and it was just before like a really crazy run on like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I bought a little bit then, got some exposure to that whole scene, but nothing further than that. Like I wish I could say I stuck around and minted some punks, minted some kitties. That would have been amazing, but kind of just got it and forgot about it until 2020 or early 2021, when I was still, doing my collecting, still collecting sneakers, Pokemon cards, some other random things. And my friend who I had worked with at YouTube, my friend Nico, he was the one who ended up basically he left YouTube and to go found Courtyard. And he was really the one who got me into Web3, because he basically needed someone to run like social media, be a community manager. And we sat next to each other at YouTube, and he would always see me on Discord and Twitter, because those were just my native apps, or sorry, X now. But I would like any time that I had a break from work, I would like minimize my screen, check on Discord for like, for my Pokemon chats, for my sneaker chats, and then Twitter for the same thing. And so he essentially asked me like, do I want to maybe join, what was becoming Courtyard? And before I said yes, I had to test the waters and see like what Web3 and the NFT space was about. But I think when you have that collector DNA, like you just kind of get hooked, because it's such a similar um, psychological process of like, this collection comes out, try to get one, they're all sealed, reveal, hope you get a good trade, either flex it or like, or trade it or sell it. So I got hooked pretty quickly, and that was like my introduction to Web3, and then just went like very deep down the rabbit hole, down into crypto Twitter, down into like, Clubhouse when that was a thing. Um, and it's been such an awesome journey. Like I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like the collectors I've been able to meet, just builders I've been able to meet. So that's really where it got started.
Nice, man. No, that's fantastic. The serendipity of the world, right? That the person that sat near you or next to you would go on to start, Courtyard.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
And we
nuts.
bonded over collecting. Like he really likes watches. I got him into sneakers. Like I had him going crazy, like, chasing like, the latest like Jordan releases and stuff like that. He just has like a similar collector bug. So it worked out
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, so I got into crypto so I've been in crypto since 2012, but I got into collecting like NFTs and all that in 2021. So I got started a little bit later. Um, but it's funny. I found a community on Discord, and like the Venn diagrams of everyone collecting. Like I'm into Japanese denim, like knives, Pokemon, sneakers, watches. Like, so you start like putting it all together, and it's like, and then you have NFTs, and it's like all of us were into that, and it's like, like you said, it's like collecting as a whole. Like, uh, you get that bug, and it's you'll collect anything. Damn pennies, I'll collect anything at this stage.
Exactly. And that I think is like one of the coolest things of Web3 to me is like yes, it brought together a group of people who are like bullish on the potential of all of this technology, but so many of them are got interested in it because of some like collecting DNA. So just over time, like you start to see like everyone around you also collects physical stuff. Like everyone around you who was like rocking the same PFP as you in the same community had this like almost like other life that like wasn't talked about for a long time because it was all about like digital. It's all about like let's just collect digital. But it's crazy to me like the number of like people who appreciate like the other like other types of like physical collecting too. And I feel like
Yeah,
yeah, you and I have a lot of like overlaps that I've seen just from like your posts on like on X and Farcaster about like things that we find cool, everything from like Game Boys and stuff like that to even like even denim like I'm interested in. So like yeah, there's a lot of cool overlap there.
yeah, man. It's at some stage, I just basically decided I can't get into every single type of collecting, and there's only so much physical space I have as well. So that's where NFTs really, I went just absolutely balls deep because it's like I don't have to worry about the storage on it. And now I'm coming out on the other side now, and I'm like, I was like, all right, well, I need to go back to collect. There's still things that I'm collecting, physically. So I'm more selective of what I collect physically now, which is great. And it's making me more, even digitally now as well. I think it just took time to like get over that honeymoon phase, and I mean, a bear market will also do that to you. So now I feel like I'm in a better place. Like, I'm like, all right, I like this project or things that I missed before. I'll pick them up regardless of if they're popping or not.
For sure.
And then same with Pokemon cards too. Like I've been in and out of it. So like I started when I was younger, I was collecting Pokemon cards like crazy, and then I think most people had this where like in high school you kind of stepped back a little bit from it, and then I came back into it once I had more disposable income. So it's just been like it's been a part of my my life. But yeah, it's like a part of your identity, which is cool,
Yeah,
man.
and it's crazy like the staying power that like Pokemon has had in 20 plus years. Um, and yeah, I feel like I have that same problem where it's like I have very limited space in here, and I have everything. I've like got like created like video games. I collect way too much stuff, so I think part of the appeal to me of Corridor is like, yeah, I could keep stacking up the Pokemon slabs, and my wife won't find out. Like,
Yeah. Yes,
right.
but shh, don't say anything. uh, let's see. So I want to talk to you about a little bit on. So how big is the courtyard team right now, like personnel wise?
I think we're about like 13 or 15, something like that. Um,
Okay.
we're at that point where like
Um.
I can't like just like instantly like count everyone in my head.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no worries. Yeah. So like, let's just say under 20 or 15. So talk to me a little bit about. So obviously, YouTube's a I think even within the behemoth of Alphabet or Google, it's I think from me talking to my friends that work at YouTube, it's kind of like the place to be. Obviously, Google search engine's kind of like the big money maker or whatever. But in terms of fun stuff, from what I've heard, is the YouTube team is treated really well. So, what was that thought process behind you? Like, kind of walk me through that thought process of like, okay, I'm at YouTube. You got all the perks. You got it. You got. I don't know what you were doing there, but like, you're doing something, and then it's like, hey, do you want to jump into a 2 person, 1 person, 3 man shop? Uh, yeah, just what like talk me through that a little bit, because that must be tough.
That's a great question, and one that like yeah, a lot of people would look at you crazy if you told them how it went down. Um, yeah, so I spent about 7 or 8 years total at Google. Started out working in ads originally, so selling like Google ads and helping small to medium sized businesses grow. Um, but what I really wanted to do when I was there was music, because in addition to collecting and everything, big guitar player, love music, have like a long history with music. So music was always something I thought like, I want to be in tech, but I love music. So let me figure that out. So that's what led me to YouTube, where I worked on an operations team that worked with like artists and music labels, and I really enjoyed doing that. I got to do that for probably like 5 of the years that I was there. So every day, like getting to listen to cool new releases, and it was great. Like as your friend said, it was very laden with perks. It was a very cushy environment. So why in the world would you ever leave that, right? And I think what did it for me was like having really had the time to like experience that world fully. And then COVID happened, and kind of think everyone went through a period during COVID where you're just kind of like evaluating what path you want to be on. Are you satisfied with the work you're doing? And so having that, we were all locked down, so I had a ton of time to reflect. And keep in mind, that's where I was starting to get wind. Like, the founder of Courtyard, Nico, who I worked with, had already left by this point, was already planting the seeds of Courtyard, already whispering stuff about Web3 in my ear, trying to get me interested. So it was kind of this perfect storm where I'm thinking, like, what's the next thing? And then all of a sudden getting really interested in NFTs and Web3. Um, so that's really what it comes down to. I was looking for a change, and I saw like an opportunity to do something with collectibles, which again like I won't even say it because the all the info you need is right here. Like I at my core I'm someone who like just loves to collect physical stuff. So when I saw that this could be like could basically change the game for the way that people collect, the stuff that I love. I was really interested. So that's kind of how it happened. Thankfully, like, it's I think a lot of people on our team who joined right at the start had to have that awkward phone call, like, maybe with like a family member or a friend where it's like, hey, I'm leaving YouTube. We're gonna go sell like 1,000 Pokemon cards of Ultimate Brinks and like see if this works. Um, and I'm thankful that everyone who I told was like pretty supportive, and I went for it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys went for it, man. Overall, all of you guys, because I personally really like your product a lot. I think I mentioned this before in the newsletter, or I don't even know where, but like I was listening to, I think I was listening to a podcast. I forget what it was saying, but it was kind of like the gist is almost saying, a lot of these products, a lot of great products, you don't have to like come up with the next revolutionary product. You don't have to come up with the next like, Bitcoin or Ethereum. Like it's more like the side product or project for some other main competitor. So in this example, I'm thinking like eBay. Like Pokemon trading and selling is like just it's not their main business. I'm sure it contributes to a lot of their business, but they sell a bunch of other stuff, and it's like niching it down. So for you guys, it's like you guys are all focused, like specific, hyper focused on like collectible cards and putting
Yep.
them in Brinks, and just refining that like process, like so the user experience and the buying and all that is just like absolutely top notch, which eBay's not going to build the database that you guys are building with all the features and the Web3 aspect of it. And it's just going to be a better user experience for us. And I think you guys will have success in that space. I mean, it makes sense why you went into that space. So I'm happy you guys did do what you guys are doing, because I'm a big fan of your guys' product.
Yeah, man, that means a lot. Thank you. Um, yeah, we've definitely like I think we went from feeling like we should just do every collectible under the sun right off the bat to really wanting to understand how to improve like one specific category, which in our case was graded cards. And I think slowly like you'll start to see some other stuff branch out. But we cared a lot about getting to like understand like what collectors of cards really want, and a lot of that has to do with like obviously being able to trade super seamlessly, being able to organize their collection in a way they're proud of digitally. eBay's it's great for a certain purpose, but like you're not going to send someone your eBay account and be like, this is my collection, these are the cards I'm super proud of. And I think we know how passionate collectors are, and there's definitely a world where they deserve like a platform that caters to what they really want, and I don't think that's happened yet. Um, and I think this like Web3 unlocks um, something really new that we can bring to the space, like the ability to have everything in your collection be like fully visible. Like even if you don't want to list it, we're still, I think, at like the infancy of like what different Web3 marketplaces will look like, but the ability to list on all of them at once and trade it seamlessly. So I think like it's a good time for someone to be trying to build this kind of like new home for collectors.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you on that. I'm fully agreed on that. Like, well, I'm sure you have like the little tin thing or the plastic container from Target, to store your ETBs. Like I
Oh yeah.
have, the container store. I have like their shoe boxes that are clear, so the shoes are visible. Like,
I'm not even
we
not
we
even
all
that good. Like, what you see here is the quality of my storage. So that's why I'm
yeah. Yeah, no, but like you're right. Like you guys are bringing a level of like, a presentation, like a lot of us do care about presentation. It has nothing to do with like we're going to sell it. It's just like, it's just nice to look at
yeah,
them
it's
too.
it's like the classic problem of like, if you have a Rolex and you're super proud of it, or let's say you have a big watch collection, you're super proud of that collection, but like the only people who get to see that are the people interact with on a daily basis, who come to your house, something like that. That circle gets, I think, even smaller for Pokemon cards, because it's not like you're walking around with your Pokemon card on your wrist every day. And there's some, people have a lot of like pride when it comes to their collections. They spend time like curating it, and I don't think like there's anything out there yet. Hopefully that's how like people see us in a way, but the ability to to basically like showcase it in a way that's like always on, always discoverable to anyone who's curious, and all the while knowing that like you're a button click away from getting that thing back in your hands if should you need that for whatever reason. And that's ultimately like where I think we want to take things even more. So just takes time, but the seeds are.
Oh, of course. Yeah. This all takes time. So yeah, I'm not gonna hold you guys to having it done before anytime soon. You know, we're still in a bear market, so it's just great to see you guys kind of build that foundation and then continue, and then the product's gonna look so different in like 3 or 4 years.
3 to 4 months.
Uh,
It's crazy. Like things move so fast in this space. But yeah,
agreed. Yeah. I'm trying to move away from thinking of things in like 3 or 4 month increments, but I know the space does move super fast. I know you alluded a little bit to this, so I did want to kind of talk about it. So, and of course, you don't have to. Everything you're saying here is not like a binding contractual thing or anything, but One Piece has really been taking off. Is that something that you guys are looking at? Like I know you guys have like, let's say Yu-Gi-Oh. I've seen some of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards in your guys' marketplace, but obviously I forget what it's under. It's like miscellaneous or other. Are there ideas or conversations around kind of peeling it off to become its own, so it's more robust, essentially, like the One Piece or the Yu-Gi-Oh
yeah,
collections?
we're going through some like redesigns of the marketplace now. So in one of the latest iterations, if you go there and you click on marketplace, it's a lot easier to filter by category. So there used to be like when you would go, there's something like probably close to like 20,000 cards at this point, like maybe more, a lot. So when you would go to the marketplace, it would be kind of, you would have like three different categories for One Piece because there's already been a few sets. So now it's a lot more streamlined. If someone goes and they go to the marketplace and they filter by category, there's just One Piece category. They'll see everything, which is really nice. And I think that's a first step to eventually like spotlighting it some more. I think right now the only cards that get like a specific tile for their category, like Pokemon baseball, are the ones that have enough cards in there that it would be like, someone would click on it and feel like they have a good selection. um I mean, you asked about One Piece. Like I'm curious about One Piece personally. Like I enjoyed the live action. Like I've watched some of the anime, but I think there's like 1,000 episodes, so I doubt I'll ever be able to go through all of them. um I don't know, if we will do anything right now, but we do already have some other categories that are going to be launching. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually we get to that. We we teased
Yeah.
already, are some sports that are going to be coming to. We are obviously already sports cards in the marketplace, but we haven't done anything with sports in terms of like a vending machine. We did one football drop, which kind of stands on its own, so I don't feel like we could say we fully got into sports with that one drop. But yeah, we're definitely getting into like some more variation of the different categories we do with drops and vending machine.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, man. Yeah, sports is a good one. I'm not really like a ton into sports. The only sport that I've like thought about kind of like dabbling into is like Formula One. Mostly because I got into it like back in 2018, 2019. I got into Formula One.
There's some nice
Um,
cards.
there's some really nice cards. Yeah, so I've been thinking about getting some Formula One cards. And I'm like somewhat familiar with it, but then other cards, I like baseball, basketball. Like I know like some of the players and stuff, but I don't feel confident enough with like, what to buy, as opposed to with Formula One. I feel like I've done enough research where I feel more comfortable what I need to do. And then with Pokemon for sure, like I know I have like a list of 1,000 cards that I like want to acquire at some point. And then some like filtered even as like priority ones or whatever, like out of those thousands. So I feel definitely more comfortable with
I love it. You took your
with those.
operations mindset and applied it to card
Yeah.
collecting.
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen some people have seen it. I can actually show you. It's on Notion. So people always like are like, what the
That's
hell is this
awesome.
dude doing over
I
here?
really think that
uh
like figuring out what you want to go after is like half the fun of collecting. Like sure, it's fun to just like browse and then see something you think is cool, buy it. I'm guilty of that too. Like, I mean, I do that, but like when you really like sit down and like plan out, like here's my hit list, here's what like my perfect collection would look like. Uh, so yeah, like
Yeah.
no, definitely I want to see this.
Yeah, so I got it by the name, the grade that I'm after, the price, the population, and 10, and the priorities, and then
That's
stats and stuff like
amazing.
that. So yeah, I ended up building like a little same with boxes too. So like I have booster boxes, um,
Man, so
some
organized.
resources. Yeah. Yeah, I took that operations perspective and just went at it. That's kind of the yeah. I tend to do that a lot, but it had so much. I had so many like ideas or thoughts of things that I wanted from Pokemon specifically that I was like, I need to just start writing this stuff down because it's yeah. You know, I had a massive like Apple Notes thing that I was just getting massive, and like I was like, okay, I just need to put this into a relational database because this is getting out of
I
hand.
saw you. So Sabrina's Gengar is at the top.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually one I'm after. I'm chasing
Is
that one pretty
that is
hard.
that the
I'd say.
band one or
Yeah, yeah. There's a band one.
yes?
Yep, yep. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think it's like what's the price that I last referenced it at? Yeah, $4,000. It's
Okay.
not too bad.
I once had
Yeah,
I think like a PSA 7 or 8 in that one, but I traded it for something else.
yeah.
Great card.
That's the great thing about Web3. You could trade them now.
Exactly. Yeah, it was all
Yep.
it did all happen on CoinDart. It was a Munch Psyduck. So the Munch series, all the cards that look like the screen painting. Um yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
Psyduck.
No, definitely. Let's see. I did want to before I kind of jump into some other stuff as well. Was I wanted to ask you like, so you're the community manager, right? That's like your title.
Yeah, yeah. Like we were talking about before the call, like definitely a lot of hats. Community manager at the time I joined was like the de facto title for anyone touching like Discord and Twitter. Um, it's
Yeah,
but these days it's like there's a lot of like video editing involved, just a lot of stuff on like the operations side. But I mean, that's still how I see myself at the core. Like I'm the first person that anyone in the community, would come to with questions, responsible for keeping everyone updated, getting to know people in the community and to understand what they want. So still think it's like a fitting title for what I mostly care about.
yeah. I was gonna ask you. So two things that kind of I wanted to get at was like, what's probably like the toughest thing that you have to do, in this role? You know, obviously like community manager is vague or you have a lot of latitude, especially as it's a startup. But like, what would you say is probably the most difficult thing that you have to usually work with?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the toughest moments are I guess I'll reference like so when we were doing drops, like a lot of drops, and you know some of them are were just super in demand, like some great cards that everyone wanted, and when you're a startup and you're pioneering like this new like drop mechanic, there's bound to be first of all like people who you know don't get something or just
Yeah,
like the system it doesn't work exactly the way they expected, like bugs are inevitable in most tech. um so some of the toughest moments that I can remember have been like drop days where a lot of people didn't get what they wanted, like something went wrong, and you're just like feeling the heat of like the passion of the community at that moment where they're generally like everyone means well, but like when viscerally like you feel like something didn't go right. I feel like Web3 is there's no barrier. It's like if Nike drops a shoe and everyone misses out, like people are going to complain, but Nike's probably not going to really feel it, right? Whereas like the barrier between us and our community is almost non-existent. Like I'm right there in the trenches every day with everyone. So sometimes like the tough moments are when I'm like hearing, you know, um, that like the people that I see in the community are like frustrated for one reason or another. Um, I really feel like the mood and like the attitude and the enthusiasm or whatever, like the emotions of the community are like I take that like very like personally, like being someone who's like always with the community. So yeah, I don't know if that's a great answer, but that's like roughly like the toughest part I would say of that role.
No, that's a fantastic answer, and I appreciate that that honesty. I mean, you know, I totally get that 100%. You know, I definitely have been on some of the bugs, you know, but bugs, like you said, it's like par for the course, I would say, you know, especially with some of the stuff that you guys are doing. So you guys were doing like checkout with, you know, Apple Pay or, you know, credit cards and not just crypto. You know, there's a lot of that back end stuff is still being kind of ironed out. So um yeah, you know, it is kind of messed up that they're kind of directing it at you. You are like the most front facing person, so it's probably a little bit misplaced. Um, but I think you guys do a great job at like, um, you know, like the randomization. I know some people have come up into the Discord saying like, hey, like the team, like I think you've made it very clear, like the team does not participate on drops, which is great. So people don't feel like it's not like the old school Nike like drop like and then the Foot Locker employees got like homies in the back and you know
Yeah.
none of that stuff, which I think is kind of nice. Then I think you guys have also said like you guys are using Chainlink, I believe, like an Oracle, and that takes care of kind of the
Exactly.
randomization. Um, yeah, so yeah, you know, I'm sorry that's like that you've gone the brunt of that. You know, I think it comes with the territory a little bit, but you know, I think people for the most part, like you said, I think most people mean well, and um, yeah, you know, it's slightly it's frustrating, but I mean, the same thing happens in real life when you open up, you know, a pack. You know, like I recently had I pulled a Charizard, like a really rare Charizard, and then I sent it for grading, and then they sent it back as an 8, and I was fucking pissed, dude.
Damn, what set was that
So
from?
it was the Shining Fates,
Okay.
the English one. I know, and I was like, I thought it was like a 9. I honestly thought it was like a 9, not a 10. You know, I think everybody thinks it's a 10. I was like, I already know there's politics there a little bit, but I thought it was like a 9 at a minimum. But they sent me an 8, and I was like, you
Are you
motherfuckers.
tempted to crack it and go with someone else or regrade it?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I'm gonna probably crack it open and
Might end
regrade
up
it.
with someone who had like a slightly better morning. You never know.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I thanks again for
Yeah.
sharing kind of the that that feedback. I was gonna say, how, in your opinion, how would you know, how would someone go about getting a job as a community manager? You know, obviously for you, it helped that you were connected with the founder through in real life, but like, let's say you were starting out, like you know, from scratch. What do you think would be some ways to get that kind of role?
Yeah. I mean, I look at like I look at people like other community managers or people kind of with that role in a space that I respect, like a couple like I guess this is almost outside the space, but like on Rally Road, which is like the fractionalized platform. Um, Will Stern, he's not even there anymore. He's at Collect Media now. But while he was at Rally, he was very much like, the face of the company on like Twitter and their account. And I think, and I would say like Top Shot had like a pack rip Ewing for a while. And like both of those people I look at and they're just like every day like plugged into the community, like they're on crypto Twitter, um, just really like living and breathing the culture. And I think that to get into this realm of community management, that is like the first and most important step. Like you have to understand the community and be part of the community. Um, and then of course like the more like brass tacks part of it, like have to be able to manage a Discord and keep that Discord safe, because we've had our share of like attempted attacks and like spammers. That gets stressful. Like you know, you don't want people to get scammed or for there to be like bad links posted. So that kind of comes with the territory. But I would say like, yeah, most important thing is just if you have to be an active like contributing member of like whatever community it is that you want to get that type of role in. So when it comes to anything in Web3, that's like crypto Twitter, Farcaster a lot too right now. You know, if you're applying and like you've only ever made like one post from your account, you know, you could probably get there. Like you probably just like dive in head first and do it. But that I think that's the best way to really like, you know, get your feet wet and have like the chops for that kind of role. And then more of like the soft skills, but like I think you need a ton of empathy and like understanding and patience to be in that type of role. Cause like we talked about, like you're gonna have people coming at you who are frustrated for whatever reason, who have questions, reasonable or unreasonable, and everyone needs to be heard, everyone needs to be like responded to. Because like, you know, you're responsible for like representing the company, like making sure that people's voices are heard. So we have a whole like, you know, process for like when we get feedback, like, you know, I make sure that's surfaced to the team, whether or not like we're able to like that. I'm going to go on a tangent, but that's something I think is like always kind of funny. Like, you know, a feature request like comes in from someone and it's just like, why can't we like wave a magic wand and make this happen? Like, you know, so many examples, but the reality is like you're a scrappy startup, you're a small team, like you want to do things right. You have a pretty much if you're like, you know, ambitious, you have like a laundry list of priorities of things that you want to get done, many of which people will probably never even see or realize because it's all happening on the back end. There are all these like minor improvements just to make things better and more sustainable. Uh, so I always find it funny. It's like, no, that's gonna. I love that idea, but that's gonna take some time. You know, like it's not gonna be tomorrow. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think like that's also really part of it, like the soft skills, like and empathy. Like if you're a community manager, like um, I, I know he wasn't a community manager, but like Poopy and Doodles, like I have a lot of friends who are Doodles, love Doodles, but like I think he got a lot of heat for saying like, you know, forward and get the fuck out, like uh
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Like, you know, that's gonna turn a community off. So yeah, the empathy is key to like not letting that stuff get to you. But different situation. I'm sure like I'm sure Poopy has a lot of empathy under normal circumstances.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I support systems, and I get the craziest enhancement requests, and you know, I got like a Jira board I got to manage, and I'm like, oh man, like this. What you're asking for is like essentially a new project. I'm like, it's not even like
Sure.
enhancement. Like you're asking me for a completely different product at this stage. But so I know where you're coming from on that one. So yeah, no, I appreciate the comment on that, you know, because in case anyone ever wants to become a community manager or anything like that, similar role, then you know it's good to hear from someone that's already in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, another thing I wanted to ask you was, so you mentioned it a little bit earlier, um, which is like in Courtyard getting its own individual tile. And I know that there's like 20,000 cards, but as you know, there's like a million cards out there. Um, are there like any active plans or campaigns to get more cards put into essentially vaulted with you guys? So like to get people to send over their Yu-Gi-Oh cards or their One Piece cards or you know all these baseball cards or MLS cards or whatever, you know, like is there how do you guys go about that essentially? Is how do you go about getting people instead of sending them to eBay or wherever it is that they're sending them to, all XYZ or whatever, you know, how do they think, okay, let me send it to Courtyard instead?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. In terms of like the market share of like just pure graded cards out there, like yeah, we're still majorly tip of the iceberg. I think part of the way you do that is just when someone comes onto the platform for the first time, how do you guide them? Like what do you draw their attention to? And for people who are coming to Courtyard for the first time and creating an account, there is kind of like an onboarding flow. So it's like, hey, I'm new here, just creating an account. There are a few touch points where it's like we can kind of educate them on what they can do as far as vaulting, and they get some reminders and some like gentle nudges about, maybe it's time, maybe you want to try sending that card in. Obviously, like I think one of the the biggest parts that like eases the friction is that it's super easy. Like you don't have to. We provide the prepaid insured shipping label, so literally all they have to do is tell us what they're sending in the most basic way possible, like how many cards, what's the value, package it up with the label and drop it off at USPS. So I think that's the key part of it, is like once we tell someone how it works, there's no other real hoops they have to jump through, nothing else they have to pay. They can just ship. But yeah, I mean, it's all about eyeballs, right? It's like who's paying attention. Our home has been crypto Twitter historically, and we've grown a lot. Like went from 1,000 follower account for a long time, to then like once we launched our own marketplace instead of just being on OpenSea and all of that, now like 30K, and hopefully to the next 60, 100, whatever it is. But historically, like we've just been focused on crypto Twitter. And I think when we were in like the honeymoon phase of NFTs, thinking like what was the phrase, like onboard the masses, right? Like that was going to happen so soon. Like everyone was just going to come to us. So all we had to do was stay put, wait for like everyone to realize that like Web3 is the future, get a MetaMask, get a ledger, and like just come to us. It's like, and obviously like it's the other way around. Like we still very much have to go the other direction, hide all the Web3 wires, get people to understand the value of using our Web3 based platforms, even if they're not realizing it's Web3. So more recently, like a lot of attention on places like Instagram, TikTok, which hopefully it's still around in a month. I don't know what it's doing with the ban, but a lot more attention there. A lot more discussions with like partners who are more like Web2 players, because I think it's very hard to break through like in the world of cars. There's so much in terms of scams. Like there's like there are mystery box scams. There's like just fake card scams. There's like the eBay buyers who like report a card as like scratch, like all this random BS. So, and it's just unfortunately like a space that has made people really wary with who they deal with, save for like some major players. So I think it takes time to establish that trust, but once you do break through, I think that's the real like game changer, because if you're vetted in a way by like the other major players, that creates like a really strong flywheel of more and more people coming through. So a lot in the works on that front. But then of course, like I don't think we'll ever like lose the roots of what made us, which is like the crypto space. That's why like more recently we've dipped into Farcaster, which I've been having a ton of fun on. We just launched our vending machine as a Farcaster frame, which was really cool. Like the first iteration of like what we can do on Farcaster. And hopefully everyone watching this has used Farcaster, but if not, it's super cool. I would say like decentralized X alternative, where everyone is just like having the time of their lives right now. So we're worth checking out.
Let's take a quick break. I hope you're enjoying this episode. This episode was made possible with the support of my premium subscribers: Seattle Dog, Mike Vinyls, KO, OG, Lucrece, Johan, Young Weekend. Thanks again for your support on all this. If you'd like to receive exclusive drops, access to token gated item, or just in general be a kind person that wants to help me out in this endeavor, make sure to subscribe to my hyper sub. I'll put his link down below. All right, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, there's still people that are not on Farcaster, which is mind-boggling to me because I'm having an absolute blast on crypto right now because of it. And the frame it's honestly one of my favorite. It's like one of my favorite frames. I have like as you saw, I have an operations mind. So I started building like a table, another Notion table, basically of my favorite frames and my favorite cast actions as well. And yeah, this vending machine is definitely, it's up there, man. It gives me it actually feels like a vending machine now. So I know you guys had the vending machine before on your website, but like just that, I mean, you know how it
Yeah.
is. It's like a little bit of friction and people are like, nah, I'm good. Like it clicking on this link and going to, Courtyard, the actual website to go participate in the vending machine. It was just, a boundary too far or something, it was just a barrier too far for them. So with this, with it being powered on a frame now is just,
I love
it's
it.
amazing.
It's like the best way to think of, for if you don't know it, it's like the mint page is like right in your feed. It's like scrolling Twitter
Yeah.
and being, instead of like liking something, like you just press the mint button right then and there. And yeah, there's so much cool stuff being built on frames. I think like this is definitely like version 1 of the vending machine frame, but super cool to have it out there. Perfect timing with FarCon this past week. I know we had a couple people at FarCon who were definitely like telling people about it, so really worked out.
Yeah, I'll be talking. I don't know if you know, but I'll be talking to Joe
Oh no,
sometime
yeah,
soon as well, and I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna dive deep on the frame because I have some other questions on that.
awesome.
It's an awesome deployment though. Like I think my favorite thing that's been happening in the last couple weeks. So for example, like Super Rare yesterday announced, you can now
I
tip
saw
with
that.
Rare, and yeah, and I've just been loving like other Web3 companies finding ways to leverage Farcaster in their own kind of unique ways. And I would say you guys I love that you guys did that. I love that you guys kind of saw the frames and the capabilities and were like, let's power it. Like, let's power up the vending machine inside of a frame. Like, that's just, I think it's awesome. It's like one of the best deployments I've seen of you guys embracing what's going on in the space right now and you know making that awareness of um of your brand, because even if Web3 is so big and crypto is so big that you can be in the space and not have no idea who Courtyard is as a whole, but the fact that you're like, and you can buy Pokemon cards with Degen, like you just opened up your potential buyer. I mean, I got a bunch of people that had never heard of you guys. I did a Farhouse Spaces
Yeah,
or
nice.
room
I
like on
have to,
Wednesday,
yeah.
and yeah, there were some people in there. They were like, someone asked me, they're like, "What's your favorite frame from like the past like week or two?" And I was like, "Yo, vending machine Courtyard." And someone was like, "I have no idea what the hell you just said." And I sent them the link, and then they were like, "Holy crap! Like I've just been your cast where you were like, I need to not spend all my degen to buy Pokemon cards." They literally were like, didn't get something they didn't like. They're like, "I'm gonna do it again," and they just like did it for like 10 minutes.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, that's we've all been like, getting our degen airdrops. It's like if you got some extra, like Pokemon, like why not? And it's so cool. Like, I love the ability to like mint whatever it is, like more like POAP based stuff or like art quickly. But like, I think there's going to be so much more variety. So now to be able to have like the power of pressing a button and then like instantly owning a physical card, I think is super cool. But you hit on a really great point about like Web3 being obviously a very big space, very fractured. Not everyone is spending time in the same places, and that I think was like a big motivation behind vending machine. And I guess like super quick aside, like for anyone who doesn't know what vending machine is, literally it's a digital machine, and you could uh, get physical cards from it. So randomly gives you a physical created Pokemon card. It's vaulted at Brinks, and you see like the odds, you see like the heavy hitters that you could pull. So very similar to experience if you've ever been to Japan. They have tons of Pokemon vending machines. You go, put in the money, you might get like the card they advertise, you might get different one, not, could be anything. And then we have like the instant buyback. So if someone doesn't play, and that's creating a lot of like that flywheel. It's like if someone doesn't like the pull, sell it for 70% fair market value, go again, take the money, or whatever they want to do. But vending machines, it's like I feel like they're kind of becoming cool again. And what I really like, what I think is powerful about vending machines is that they're everywhere. It's like when you were a kid, like didn't matter. Like if you went to the movies, like there's a cool vending machine there for whatever it is, like toys, like they have like the little like, you know, Easter egg things. Supermarket, same deal. So it's like wherever you go, you're gonna like there. It's just there. It's like waiting for you, and we kind of have a similar mentality about like the vending machine in Web3. It's like it doesn't just have to be on the Courtyard homepage. The beauty of Web3 is that like, you know, we could build this application in like any number of different places. So Farcaster, great example of like the first like vending machine expansion. Um, but there are a ton of other places where it could pop up, and that's potentially some alpha. That
I have ideas on it, man. I would personally, I mean, you don't have to listen to me. You can completely ignore me, but like, I would personally love to get that vending machine concept and do it for like giveaways, you know? So like for me as a creator, I would love to, I have my own Pokemon cards on Courtyard as well. And I would love to like load up a my own vending machine, like quote unquote, and then be like, have at it, you know, like, and here are the odds of like you pulling one of my favorite cards or something like that.
100%.
Like,
I love
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. I've even thought about buying an in real life vending machine before, just to load up my. I have a high school that's like near me, and I was like, man, I was like, I could just fill it up with some of these Pokemon packs. So I have some pretty rare Pokemon packs, and I was like, you know, I'll put some evolving skies in there and charge appropriately,
Passive
and
income.
you know, passive income, exactly. um, let's see. I am going to jump in a little bit into kind of some of the retro gaming.
Oh yeah.
And some of the watches and the shoes as well. But before I kind of get into there, I got two quick hitters. They're not going to be quick though, knowing us. What Pokemon game did you get started with, and which one's your favorite?
Wait, which Pokemon? What
game? Like video?
I got started with Pokemon Blue.
And your favorite one?
I mean, I feel like granted, like I haven't played it since that era.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm about to like, you know, when I have time, like this has been like one of my dream, not like a huge undertaking, but to mod my Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get back to like actually like reliving what that was like. But I would have to say Blue, just because like that's what I remember playing the most. And you know, like I appreciate like all generations of Pokemon, but like I'm like a Gen 1 baby. Like, you know, that's the 151. Like that's who I know. Yeah, so I'm gonna say, and like I always like the underdog. So like I feel like everyone was like all like crazy about like Red and like Charizard. But like I was feeling Blue and Blastoise.
Yeah. I'm Team Blue as well. I had Red as well, just so I could complete it when I was younger. And I'm actually playing Blue right now as well. I think you saw that I finished modding the Game Boy SP that I have. Yeah, we could talk about modding it. It's super fun, man. I even have a person that you could just send it to them and they'll do it for you, and which is also nice too. Because I'm like, as much as I want to like mod things all the time, I'm like, you know, I have a kid, work, and all, you know, a bunch of other house stuff that I'm like, I'll just pay someone $100 to mod it for me the way I want, and
they'll probably solder everything right, and like it's all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm like, I have a Game Boy Advance that I'm like, I want to do that for, because I you know, the long Game Boy Advance, that one. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, Blue's a jam. I have gone and played back like Platinum, Black, XY, and a bunch of other ones. Those are all really good actually. But yeah, there's something about Blue. Yeah, no, that's a game I grew up with too. I put like, I don't even know, an obscene amount of time onto that game.
So it's just such a shame we didn't grow up with like NFTs already being mainstream, because imagine like all of your accomplishments in that game, like living on chain, like, you know, right now, like if God forbid something happens to that cartridge, right? Like,
yeah. That's why I have this right here. This this little device. You can back up all your saves for all the old
You got
games.
all the bases figured out. This is what Game Boy looks like when you are an adult. Like no more mistakes.
Uh huh. Yeah. It's like super cheap, but I was like, oh yeah, man. I was like, I'm gonna save all my progress on this thing. But yeah, I agree. Like there is a company that does retro achieve. It's called literally retro achievements, and that's a solid idea. Retro achievements, but on chain. Someone on base get on that. All right. So, which one is your favorite? What's your favorite starter? Any generation?
Starter, Squirtle. Yeah, because yeah, Squirtle. Just like I'm a water type fan. Um, Squirtle is like the feature of like one of my all time favorite cards, which is the fire red, leaf green, kind of Nirvana esque card where Squirtle, but the Nevermind Nirvana cover. You know, I collect. I'm not like a competitive player, so I collect cards that like mean something that I love. That like the artwork I find really cool, and that's one that I was just like blown away when I saw there was a Pokemon card modeled after the Nirvana album cover, which is a band that I love.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I love that they've been doing stuff like that too. Like it's yeah, Pokemon knows what they're doing.
So,
Yeah, I'm Team Squirtle as well. I mean, really, you can't go wrong with any of those first three starters: Charizard, Venusaur, or yeah, they're all good, man. All those three
we're
starters.
so in sync. We're both blue, both Squirtle. Like
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm Team Squirtle, man. It was because War Turtle was the best evolution. Like middle evolution was the best one without a doubt.
total loss.
Yeah, total boss. All right, so jumping into some of this other stuff, and I know you got to hop off soon. So I saw that you recently picked up some retro games, specifically Cruising World,
Yeah,
which is for sure one of my favorites.
right here. I forgot.
I know.
Yeah, I forgot
It's
about it,
so
but
good, dude. You know what is your favorite like retro game? Barring Pokemon
that I
or
mean, that's
yeah, Pokemon.
definitely one of them. Like countless hours playing that game. Me and my brothers, like I have two older brothers, and we just like it was trying to remember like basically like every time you played it, you the more levels you played, like you would unlock like new like paint jobs for your cars. And we were all like we were young, but like we all thought cars were super cool. We had like our model cars. So having that game and then like getting to like get to the point where we had like these tricked out cars, we all loved. Obviously, and 64, so Mario, another favorite. And then I would say the favorite of like the Xbox generation was definitely Halo, the original. Been looking for
Yeah,
a steel copy of that. That is pricey, um, unless you get like a Russian version or something. Uh,
yeah,
but yeah, it's that. Look, it's funny. Like you know, you might think you have like unique taste in video games until you see the secondary market of like all of your favorite games. It's like, well, clearly, like everyone else wants that too. So I guess I just liked the popular stuff. Um, yeah. What about you? What were your favorites?
definitely Pokemon. Put a lot of time into that. Zelda, so like Ocarina of Time. I definitely put a lot of time into that. Majora's Mask. I'm like you. I guess I'm basic. Metal Slug. I really enjoyed that
Oh,
game a
that one.
lot. I'm actually gonna go pick that up at some point pretty soon. Um, Advanced Warfare. That was like on the Game Boy Advance. That one was pretty dope. Um, a lot of side scrollers. So like
Oh yeah,
Samus, some Mario. Yeah, nothing too crazy. There was
Smash Bros. Just speaking.
yeah, Super Smash Bros. Yeah. I think Halo for sure brings a lot of. I had a lot of good memories on Halo. Definitely remember the chat rooms, chat or like the voice rooms. Those were a blast. Even Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare, like that one was pretty good too for me. I still played a lot of games then around that time frame. And then times it's gotten scarce since, like it gets tougher the older you get. So I would say modern. The last game I really like went deep into, like super deep into, was Destiny.
Okay.
Which is like like the Halo, but it's by Bungie or whatever, like that whole crew. Uh, that game I like put 1,000 hours into that game easily. I was sherpaing people that should not be in those weekly challenges for sure. So that's the last game I think I went really into. And then recently Breath of the Wild.
No.
From on the Switch.
It's great when you find a game you could just get lost in. Such a good escape.
Such a great feeling, man. It's awesome. All right, so I know you've been exploring watches as well.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? You in the market?
Yeah,
or?
I'm not a huge watch guy. Like I've always been super interested in, but like never pulled the trigger on like buying like a super serious watch. I've collected like random ones. Like here's like a Hamilton that I wear, like a very super basic, like entry level.
Oh, I love Hamilton, man.
It's great. Like I got this one because my grandpa had like a Hamilton watch. It's like probably from like the 30s or 40s. That like doesn't work, but I was like, oh wow, like he had one that like such a crazy heritage around this brand, and they're still doing like great stuff today. So I have that one. I have like a couple other like micro brands, but like recently have been like really diving into like what does it mean to like go to that next level, where you're buying like a super like quality watch. Like so yeah, went to like heard so much about like what it's like to go to an authorized dealer and the whole like process around that, making you wait, kind of like feeling you out when you're there, right? Because these dealers are trying to be like, oh, is this guy gonna flip? Like, do I trust them? It's such a personalized game of like, it's not just like I have the money, give me the watch. It's like this whole like we got to date first, got to make sure we like each other. So interesting. So when like tried on a few things, was real like I think you told me about Tudor.
Yeah, I have a Tudor.
Yeah, like amazing like stuff they have. Like I really didn't know about them. Then like heard that like the one of the original founders of Rolex founded Tudor. Like, they also have like a crazy heritage, and have some like beautiful pieces. Like I saw their like 2024 lineup. So I haven't like made any decisions, just been like trying out a bunch, trying to learn, trying to like talk to people who know about that world. But yeah, it's super fascinating to me. Like I'm in a position where I'm going for like entry level nice watch, but like to know like what some of the ones that I think are really cool end up going for, it's just wild. Like, we're talking like a different league than Pokemon cards. But it's serious craftsmanship, and people pay premium for that.
Yeah, no, I agreed, man. I think people don't realize. It's funny because you'll say entry level, and it's like still $5,000, $7,000, $8,000, even up to 10
It's like
grand. Really,
entry level, and then it's like okay, it's like serious entry level. Really.
Yeah, and people are like, "What? How much?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, you don't know." I was like, "Watch game's nuts, dude." Yeah. Like even Tudors, I think people say they're like mid entry level tier, depending which one you get. And I don't know, even those are like 6, 5, 6, 7K. And even the entry level Rolex, like the Explorer, I really like that one actually, but it's still like 10 grand. It's not that entry level, I'd say.
And that's an interesting one because like it comes in 36 millimeter, which is like like by today's standards, like a pretty small watch for men, is the only size that came in for like a really long time, like 40 years. And only recently have they made like a bigger, like 40 millimeter version. But like, I feel like there's some contention. It's like the purists will say like it shouldn't be a 40 millimeter. So if you're looking at that watch, it's like, damn, like I don't want to piss off the purists, like, But how do you like your tutor? Like, how long have you had it for?
A couple years now. I love it. I got the bronze version, so it patinas. Some people don't like the patina. I love it the way like no patina will look the same like to someone
Yeah,
else's
some
patina.
character.
Yeah, it's got some character. It's got beat up a little bit. I wear my stuff personally. You know, I don't baby it. Like right now I'm wearing a this is like so I mean I have like cheaper watches or whatever you want to call them, but this is like a Japanese 5600 G-Shock black on
Nice.
black screen. So it's like a limited edition. Um it's super nice. I like it. So I usually travel with this one
Super.
because I don't have to charge it. It gets solar powered. It's a good travel watch, and I don't really have to worry about it getting jacked either. So that's like another thing. I'm like, you know.
Nice.
Um, what micro brands do you have? Like, do you have like a
No,
Weiss?
I have. It's called Brew. BREW. I don't know too much about them other than like it's somehow like it's espresso inspired in the heritage because like most of their watches have on the dial you'll see like I think it's like a 15 or 30-second kind of like highlighted where it's like
Uh
meant to help people time like manual or shots.
yeah, manual
Yeah.
pours. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Actually, I love
Yeah, they
that.
definitely have some really cool stuff. Like, like pretty affordable for like someone new to the watch world. Um, Heard about them originally like from some watch collectors like who I met through Courtyard. Um, so that's have that, and then I have a watch that belonged to my dad, which is like the most sentimental watch. And it's a Wittenauer, which is like not a brand most people know. I think it's like owned by Belova now or Belova, however you say it. Doesn't even work. I recently like reached out to the company to try and get like replacement batteries because it's a super specific type of battery you can't just go to like CVS and get. Um,
Yeah,
but that to me, like with any collectible, like if it has like sentimental value and meaning to you, like that moves it to the top of the pile. So that's my number one right now.
yeah. Not everything has to be PSA 10 first edition Charizard.
Exactly.
Like well, we can have different things, different flavors that we like. I know someone recently was asking like, should I buy only PSA 10s for like vintage cards? And I'm like, yeah, if you could afford it. If not, like, like not everything needs to be that level. Like you could just get I think like eight's even a sweet spot. Like they look so pristine at eight. Like I couldn't even tell you the difference between an eight, nine, and a 10 half the time, depending,
Yeah.
unless it's something super blatantly obvious. But sometimes I've seen some eights that look better than 10s, some 10s that look like they're nines or eights. So,
So to say,
uh,
buy the
yeah,
card, not the grade. Like,
that's
and
exactly
then
it. Yeah.
just to throw in
Um,
another cliche, it's like I'm all for like that pristine 10 collection where like there's no nine in sight, but like I also love like the well thought out collection where it's like a great rainbow of like everything you could think of, but just like cards that like someone really loved and like has a lot of meaning to them. So there's no wrong way to collect. It's like just about what
yeah. I have a dark magician that's like a 5 or a 6, but it's a dark magician I had that I played with.
that.
And people would be like, "Well, that's dumb. Why do you have a PSA 5, Dark Magician first edition Yu-Gi-Oh?" And I'm like, "Cuz it's the one I
Too
played
bad
with
we can't
when I
like
was a
get like
kid."
have like PSA or CGC add in the label like child
Original owner.
original owner. Yeah, exactly,
Original owner. The provenance on that one is I'm the original person that played with it.
exactly.
Let's see. Uh so a couple like I know we're going to wrap up pretty soon, but I know you recently got the Jumpman Jack trainers. Congrats on getting those. Jealous. What exactly is going on with Sneaks?
Oh, it's Sneaks. Yeah, so Sneaks was like the Courtyard equivalent, just for sneakers, and not much is going on right now. Like we did the drop kind of like an experiment after cars, like see where that went. Didn't get the same like reception that I think we saw with cards. Think like especially like the whole like drop format didn't work as well for sneakers. Um, So it's I believe like the people who originally like minted, you know, there's some of them that still haven't redeemed it. Those are still at the Brinks vault, and the sneak site is still there, allows them to like do control like the NFTs as they want. Um, would have loved it if sneakers caught on. Like I was waiting to send all my stuff in, but I think it's something that like if we do like revisit it, it will probably be in the future, probably under the Courtyard umbrella. Um, there were just a lot of things with that experiment that like kind of were working against it. I think that was like right around the start of like the really like brutal bear market, coming like right off the summer of 2022, I think. So yeah, we gave it a go. Went to some sneaker cons, which was super fun. Like there were definitely people who were excited about it, but cars is like the thing that's working the best right now.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah, and obviously spreading yourself thin and all that, definitely focus where the attention is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know you were mentioning a little bit, what do you think part of it played with like the fact that like we don't really have as a robust of a system, not you guys in general, but like just the market as a whole, we don't have like a really robust sneaker verification grading system as opposed to with cards, we have PSA, we have CGC, we have SGC, we have like, we have a bunch. There's like marketplaces, so like everything's more mature as opposed to like with the sneaker market, like, we have StockX. That's about, StockX and eBay and like, and going to your farmer's market and or down the street and like opening it up and being like, hey, I got some sneakers here.
No, I think that's part of it. Like there's I think that's part of it, and I think also sneakers. It's like you're never gonna wear like your Pokemon card. Like you have it, it's in your collection, but like you don't have to think about it. It's just like I know that this is their sneakers. It's like a little bit different. It's like you start to get like more of like your the utility of it comes out. It's like maybe I want to wear them, and like and I think like um it's just more of like a so much more variety out there, so much more like unique kind of taste that I think to like have like a they just like don't trade like the same way that like that Pokemon cards do. They're liquid, but like probably not like as liquid, I don't think.
Yeah, that's true.
Not gonna
Yeah, I know
stop
what you're
me. Like
saying.
I love them. Like this is like I would say 90% like personal collection that I know like I'm just waiting for the right time to wear. 10% pairs that I'm like scared to wear that like, maybe I'll let go one day, just keeping it on ice. But I collect I have New Balance, I have like Solomon, mostly New Balance, a bunch of Jordans up there. Um, so yeah.
SBs, man. I've been on the SB rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
it's crazy. It's still going. Like came back and like yeah, with a vengeance. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, last question, I'd say. Well, I got two more questions, but last one. What is your favorite pair of sneakers that's come out kind of
It's
recently?
come out recently. How like the last couple years or
Yeah, let's say
last
the
two
last
years?
2 years.
I think it's I'll go with two. I'll go with one because I can't choose. I'm just like I don't have that in me. I would say one is the when Supreme and Nike did the dunk high with Ramelzi, which is Ramel like crazy artist, and it just has this like I'm gonna like make things fall if I try to get it from that stack, but basically has like a really cool like unique artwork pattern all over the sneaker, very reminiscent of like the Paris Dunks, which were like one of the first SBs that go for like 100K plus now, like insane sneaker. So I love that. Love that they kind of remind me of the Paris Dunks. And then for some reason, I'm not like I'm not on a job site, but I love Carhartt, and so New Balance and Carhartt did a pair together, and that's probably like my second favorite. New Balance
Yeah.
Carhartt, hard to beat.
I know New Balance has been killing it recently, man. Yeah, Carhartt too. Like the Carhartt work in progress ones, the
Yeah,
whip ones. They got some
I
dope
was in
PO.
Japan a few months ago, and I felt like I was making like a pilgrimage to like the Carhartt like work in progress store. Super cool, like awesome
Yeah,
stuff there. So yeah, I don't know what it is about
yeah,
Carhartt. Just love the Hamilton Brown.
yeah. I feel that. Yeah, I went to the one in Spain and Italy last
Nice.
year, and those are nice stores. Yeah, yeah. I love those stores. All right, and then to wrap up, um, what is your favorite snack?
Ooh, I love the curveball.
Yeah, so just that's some context, So when I initially got started with the newsletter a long time ago, uh, I called it pinchos, which is like a tapa snack kind of thing, like bar
Like
snack food
quick
from
bite kind of
Spain.
thing.
Yeah, quick bite, and it was like that was kind of the I thought I was being clever. I was like, it's like quick bites of Web3, like, because like my whole thing is like trying to have the newsletter be no longer than 10 minutes long for the weekly stuff. And so I was like, quick bite Web3. And I was like, pinchos. Realized, nobody knows what the hell that is. And, I was just being too clever and all that. So I used to ask people when I would interview them, like, what is your favorite snack? So that is the long standing question that
I
I ask
love it.
everybody.
Yeah. I would say favorite snack might be it's kind of a random one, but this like I feel like not this isn't I would normally say like Reese's, but I feel like that's like more dessert. But thing that I could just snack on, like have a bowl of and be like really happy. Sesame sticks. Um, yeah, you could get them like like the bulk food, like where you just like pull down the lever and a bunch of like peanuts come out. A lot of supermarkets have them that way, but yeah, they're just like super tasty, um, crunchy things, and I love the flavor. They're great on everything. Like put them on like salads a lot of time. Really like gives it some nice texture. But I could eat like a bowl of them and be happy. So
I've never had that. I'm gonna have to go find that. That
yeah,
sounds all good.
give it a shot. Everyone has a unique palate, but I love them. They're good.
I love sesame, so I could only imagine like a crunchy thing of sesame. And like you said, I would probably throw it into a salad without a
Yeah,
doubt
well,
too.
I'm looking forward to the post where you give me credit for your new business.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think that's all I got on my end. Unless you have any questions.
Well, I guess let me ask you what's your favorite snack?
Uh, I kind of go back and forth, but I'm gonna say PB and J's. I don't know if it counts as a snack, like you said.
No, that's fair, especially like an uncrustable or something. Just grab and go. Like,
yeah, yeah. I like a really good PB and J. It something about it, man. It's
do you
very
have
comforting.
any? I know everyone has like different methods for like when they put it together. Do you have like a secret strategy or technique that optimizes the flavor and the integrity of it?
Mostly, you're gonna think it's blasphemous, but I do jelly first because it's easier to clean the knife and then put the knife back into the peanut butter.
That's I haven't thought of that, but that's super true. That's a good tip.
Yes, it's just easier than like peanut butter because if you went peanut butter first then jelly, peanut butter's a little harder to kind of
Right.
clean off. And then the other thing is I just don't. I go ham. I hate PB and J's that are like light on the jelly and light on the peanut butter.
Agreed.
Um,
If it's not messy, something's wrong.
yeah, no, mine are messy. Like it's oozing out the sides and stuff. Like yeah, like that's kind of my only thing. No secrets. Just don't skimp out on the main ingredients.
Good life advice.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks again for your time, man. Appreciate it. All right. Welcome back. Another great episode. Really enjoyed my conversation with Chef. He's definitely someone I get along with and someone I respect in the space. He's been great
as a community manager in his role in Courtyard, and really enjoy kind of what Courtyard is doing themselves. So definitely a great episode for me. This week's Cast Off, and Cast Off is a segment that I'm trying out where I want to hear from you, the audience. So this week's Cast Off episode question is, which Pokemon is your favorite starter? And for those not familiar, the starter Pokemons are the first three Pokemon that you're given a choice. The OGs being Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. Obviously, any generation is open up here for debate. I'll post this question on my Farcaster channel, 0773H. So hello, just in lead speak. So check it out on Farcaster. Make sure you leave a comment there with, which Pokemon's your favorite. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in. You've listened to the entire episode. I want to thank you kind of from the bottom of my heart for making it this far. If you are listening to this episode on a platform that's not pods.media, make sure that you go there and collect this episode as a collectible. If you are on Pods, make sure to subscribe to my podcast on your favorite app so you're notified whenever I drop new episodes. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Feel free to share this with anyone that might be interested in this topic or the guest. Also, feel free to reach out and let me know if you'd like any specific people or topics discussed in the future. You can get in touch with me via text. SMS rates apply. If you click on the link below, it will kind of open up your SMS messenger and, shoot away a message, or you can reach out to me on social media. See you next time.